All right, so Paddy Pimblett had a podcast with Dana White a couple weeks ago, and then they went off on Ariel Helwani.
Yeah.
They're saying something like, it seems like more of a just misunderstanding, but Paddy Pimblett, his manager, was expecting to get paid for the interview.
Yeah, and so I've had to deal with Paddy Pimblett's manager. He's a great dude, one of the best managers in the game. He actually runs Cage Warriors out there, which, if you're not familiar with him, Bisbee came out of there, Hardy came out of there, Connor came out of there. Now you have Paddy Pimblett, some other names. What's the heavyweight stud? Sorry, guys, took NyQuil last night. My brain is foggy as shit. Aspinall came out of there. So there's a lot of savages that come out of there. It's by far the biggest promotion in Europe, and they create superstars. That's what they do. So I took the squad down to San Diego to do a food truck with Paddy, and I met this gentleman, and first thing he tells me is, how big of a piece of shit Ariel is. And obviously me and Ariel have our differences, and Ariel talks about living in people's heads. You don't hear a lot about me and me going after Ariel. You hear him bring me up on numerous shows. I'll never understand that, but that is who he is. But I don't engage with that stuff. I don't engage with the gossip and stuff like that. And I don't know what went on there, but from what I heard, and again, I didn't hear this from Ariel. I heard this from one side, so I just take it with a grain of salt. He goes, "Oh, we can't stand Ariel. We were in, I forget where they were at. They're in London doing something. We had something lined up, and Paddy's been getting paid to do things. And then Ariel goes, come do my interview. And they're like, well, we'd have to leave this one. And they're paying us. So if you pay us, and I guess Ariel just blew up on him about he doesn't pay and stuff like that. And he's like, so fuck Ariel. I'm like, I mean, all right, So there seems to be an issue there. So I think the other reason why Paddy's getting hate is because he's Dana White's guy, right? He's the next guy, and him and Dana goes on the show, and him and Dana are chummy and they're boys. I always correlate the UFC to Shawshank Redemption. You want to be Andy Dufresne, right? You want to be the guy that people root for. When you're friends with the warden who runs the asylum, when he runs the prison, nobody roots for that guy. So that's not doing any favors. And I don't think Paddy cares. Maybe he does, the optics there. But to have Dana on, you have this common enemy in Ariel Helwani. And I don't know all the background to Ariel and Dana. I don't. Obviously, me and Ariel have had issues. That doesn't mean Ariel's a bad guy. I do think he's the best journalist we have. I've said that since day one, even when we were beefing. Luke Thomas is up there. There's a few tip of the spear guys, Ariel, Luke Thomas, some other dudes. So I don't know the depth of Ariel and Dana. I know if Dana has a hit list, if he's off that show, Billy Madison, remember the guy going to assassinate people and he has the lipstick on and he's crossing out the names? I'm probably top 5 on that list, but I'm lower than Ariel. If he hates anyone more than me, it'd be Ariel, right? So when Paddy and Dana get together and have this common enemy, it brings Paddy and Dana closer together, and you're not going to get any fan votes off that. I think that's where a lot of the hate comes from Paddy. When you're chums and your buddies and your mates with Dana White and what he represents for a lot of guys, whether you're right or wrong, you're not going to get any brownie points there. You're going to get a lot more hate. No one likes to see the prisoner with the warden chumming it up, getting extra snacks, getting these breaks. So that's where a lot of the hate comes from. So I didn't see this. This was Ariel's latest comments. What I was saying was, so who's saying it? So
Paddy.
Paddy said, what I was saying was Ariel wanted me to do a paid gig. Ariel wanted me to not do a paid gig, to do something for free with him. And that's what the manager told me. Paddy said, and somehow people are defending him. That's it. Simple as, I don't even really need to talk about it anymore. That's just a fact. Comes out with this false narrative and said it didn't bother him. Made an hour and 15-minute video about it, so we know it's bothering him. He's actually lied and tried to make himself look good. I guess Ariel showed receipts, though. That's always dicey.
Yeah, so there's a memo where you can actually do like a voice memo as a message. So Paddy's like, hey, I'm going to be in New York or whatever. So if you want to do something, let me know. So Ariel took that as an interview, right? But now Paddy's saying that no, just he wanted to go get a coffee or eat or something like that. But because he considered him a friend, but I guess he says Ariel doesn't consider him a friend.
Interesting.
But he considers Ariel a friend.
Okay. We'll address this after the fight. Me manager, don't you worry. You got all this stuff there. He's going to look like an idiot. Pimblett then addressed the voice message that Helwani shared on the air, in which it appeared that Pimblett was asked to meet face-to-face for an interview in 2021. The voicemail, when I said, do you want to meet up, didn't mention an interview. Pimblett said to have a drink or have something to eat as a friend, but he obviously never saw me as a friend where I saw him as a friend. He only saw me as a pound sign and dollar signs. I just want to, I was just comedy them. Pimblett has won 5 straight.
No, that's pretty much it though.
Gotcha. Yeah, I mean, it's like the Real Housewives of the UFC. That's what this is. This drama, so I really don't give a shit. Ariel, what he does a lot of fighters. I have to deal with a lot of fighters. There's gonna be drama. It's just what the internet loves. And I think if Paddy and Ariel I hate when people air it out on their shows. Obviously, again, for clicks and views, it's a good thing to do, that these guys like to do this stuff, but this should be a conversation man to man. This should be a conversation person, and they would squash this, and Ariel would be able to use him, and he'd be able to use Ariel's platform, which is massive in our sport. So it only hurts both of them. And let's say Paddy comes on and become champ, the same 5 fights he's fighting for a world title, and Ariel's missing out on that. That's not good. They should squash this. Also, Paddy doesn't need to put energy into this, into a journalist. Like, this is what Ariel does. It's going to be a tough fight. And Ariel, again, watch the headlines on MMA fighting, which Ariel's in cahoots with. Those headlines are going to be favored towards Paddy. They paint a lot of the narrative for the MMA fan base. So it's just, there's no upside to this for Paddy. Now, I'm not saying bow down to Ariel, but it doesn't sound like this is much of a thing. Okay, so he had a paid gig, and Ariel wanted you to skip it to do his. You said, no, you have to pay me. Ariel goes, I don't pay for interviews. That should have been the conversation. To make Ariel a bad guy, to make Paddy a bad guy. Paddy's supposed to get compensated off doing another interview. And now to defend Paddy, I know for a fact, we didn't pay him. But I do know when we reached out to him, my team reached out to him, his manager goes, what's the talent fee? There's no talent fee. We don't pay anyone. He goes, okay, all good. Just so you're aware, Paddy usually gets paid, but he's a fan, and I know you support him, so we're going to do it. Okay. If you would tell us, I don't know, 10 G's, I'm like, pass. We don't have the budget. Doesn't make much sense. As much as I like Paddy, big interview for us, but it's just not the way any sport really works. Unless you're doing like a GQ piece or something outside of the MMA field, this only builds your brand, you know? So to defend Ariel too, it's like, no, you pay for an interview. And Paddy should just been like, all right, well, let's do it next time or maybe later or the next day. I don't know what schedule was like, but hey, I don't want to miss out on whatever was 20 G's. Just do your interview. I respect you. I'd like to do it, but I'm going to do this one. Then I can come to you or I'm going to do this one. Let's reschedule. This is easy to figure out. But again, it's this cool thing to hate on Paddy now, right? Paddy. And I'm sure online Paddy's a liar and Ariel has receipts. Paddy's like, no, you guys are off, you know? Real Housewives of the UFC.
All right, so there are rumors that Conor McGregor, or there's rumors that Dana...
For the Chang's community, Bappa, who definitely didn't pay the Scouser for Truck Walk Diaries interview, or is it Trug Walk, is starting up again. Just making sure you're still the CEO, CFO, COO. He's apparently in your head. Thoughts?
I knew it.
All right. This I was holding onto the string and I was waiting for it. And I'm not, I want to warn you, this isn't going to be your typical 10-7. Okay? This isn't going to be your typical 10-7. Because I don't have that flyer in me pertaining to this topic. But I did see a clip where my old friend Brendan was talking about the whole Paddy situation. And I will be honest with you as well, did not even watch the whole thing because there was a part of me that was like, what's going on here? What is happening? Why does this guy look so sad right now? What is this a normal thing or is he just having a bad day? And it was kind of like hurting me. It was hurting my heart to watch it. So hope he's okay, sincerely. Brendan loves to do this thing where he talks about something and he makes it out like he hasn't done anything wrong, but then he'll throw like a little jab. He'll make a little remark. He'll hit you with a pot shot. So like he'll talk about this and I saw he said like, oh, you know, first of all, he's explaining to us what Cage Warriors is. Like he just found out about it or like we don't know about it. Anyone who covers the sport for a living and talks about it on a weekly basis should know what Cage Warriors is. Like you don't need to explain that to us. Number one, you shouldn't have to explain to us who Graham Boylan is. Number two, but then he says like, oh, these guys said that, you know, Ariel's a piece of shit and all that stuff. So you don't have to say that. You could say, oh, I had an interaction with Paddy and they mentioned it and blah, 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 blah. But he'll throw these little things and say like, oh, no, they said it, but you're still saying it on your platform. You're still putting it out there. And you'll hear him say like, hey, you know, Ariel still talks about me and you don't hear me talk about him. And, you know, that's an indication of, you know, I'm in his head, right? That type of thing he was saying. And here's the thing that I still don't think he understands. And I still don't think a lot of people understand as it pertains to me. As I've said time and again, I will forgive. I will forgive, but I don't forget. And I don't forget, especially when it comes to people who either questioned or try to harm my integrity, my standing, you know, my ethics, stuff that matters to me, who I am as a person. Again, as I've said ad nauseum, you want to talk about me as a host, as a journalist, as a question asker, all that shit. I don't give a crap. I don't care if you don't like me. It truly doesn't bother me because I know different strokes, different folks. There's people I don't like. There's people this guy likes, I don't like. I like, this guy doesn't like. That's fine. You're not going to be loved by everyone. No one is loved by everyone. But when you start to attack my integrity and my ethics and who I am as a person and my reputation, and you try to lie about that reputation, that's when I get pissed off. And that's when I never, ever, ever, ever forget. So to Brendan and to everyone else, I will never, ever forget. I will never forget. I will forgive. I will move on. Like I said, if he wants to call me up, even if he wanted to come on the show, I would be open to it. But I will never forget. And for him to do this song and dance, like, oh, Ariel still talks about me and I don't. Bro, you talked about me for 5 years. You lied about me for 5 years. I still got 5 fucking more years of material on you. And I'd be happy to talk about you in any kind of light for 5 more years. I still owe you. I still got back receipts. I still owe you for all the shit about 199 and Showtime and all the other shit that I talked about. I still owe you. So you're going to sit there with your puppy dog face and be like, oh, he still talks about me. Yeah, you're lucky I don't talk about you more. You're lucky I don't make more comments about you. You're lucky I don't open up that closet. All right. So like I said, best to just leave my name out of your mouth. You want to talk about something because I'm in the news, I'm pertinent, the Paddy thing is up, fine. But I see the little pot shots. I see what you do. I see all the little things that you say. I see it. And you try to compare, you try to go 1 for 1. No. The scoreboard is still 100 pot shots to 10. All right. I still got 5 more years before you could cry foul. So don't start with that shit. Do not start with that shit. And people are like, oh, he called you the best. Oh, now I'm the best. A year ago, I wasn't the best. A year and a half ago, I was horrible to work with. I don't buy any of it. I see right through it. It's all bullshit. And it's like I said about Paddy. It's like I said about Graham. It's like I said about Ali and Dana and everyone in between. They want to come on and bury the hatchet. I believe we have one life and it's all good and we're going to die tomorrow and all this shit is stupid. I don't believe in cutting people off, so to speak. I'm very forgiving, but I will never forget. I will never, ever forget. So I will never forget being in quarantine in Montreal, trying to take some time off and looking at a clip of this guy lying about me and saying that I'm a horrible person to work with, that I treat my colleagues badly, that 1,000 people told him. I will never forget that. I'll never forget how that made me feel. And I had no fucking microphone to speak into at that point. I had no platform. I had nothing. Well, I guess I had my Twitter and Instagram and that would have been fine, but you get the point. I had nowhere to go to defend myself. So I won't forget that. And if that bothers you, if it bothers you that I make a joke here, a Bappa reference there, a Dicey reference there, a Chang's reference here, a what are we done here, there. If it bothers you that I'll say to Alex Pereira, don't listen to Brendan Schaub, tough noogie. I'm sorry. I'll mention you as much as I want. I suggest you stop mentioning me, or at the very least, just stop taking pot shots. If you want to talk about my show, news broken here, this and that, great. But you sit there and you take these pot shots and I see it and I'm not dumb. And I realize it. And so you want to side with these guys and you want to make it seem like, oh, you know, when they came to me, they didn't ask for money. Well, maybe they didn't ask for money because they realized how stupid they sounded when I fucking said no to them back in November of 2021 because you spoke to them afterwards. Maybe they realized no one was willing to pay. Maybe they realized that they were out of their freaking minds for ever bringing this up. Maybe because last I checked, they weren't asking people to pay. Or you know what? There's a very, I wish I could say it, but I can't. There's a very, 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 very popular podcast out there that I listen to all the time that I've referenced on this show. And they saw the stuff that I was saying. And it's a non-MMA show, guys. And they told me that the same was said to them. So maybe they're not smart enough to realize that they were stupid in saying that they were not out of line. Because I couldn't believe that they wouldn't go on this show that wanted to speak to them out of the MMA world, out of the MMA bubble, because they were saying the same stuff. We want to get paid. Golly, you talk about being short-sighted. All these guys, jokes. So I saw that clip. I chuckled. I laughed. I felt a little bit weird about it because it looked like he was having a bad day or something like that. And then I was like, this guy still doesn't understand why I was mad. This guy still doesn't understand what he did wrong. He still doesn't understand why it was a bullshit move to make up lies about me, my work ethic, my integrity, my ethics, all that stuff. Yo, I've been here way too long and I've been fighting, doing this job way too long. And I invested way too freaking much time, energy, effort, put all my eggs in this basket. I am not going to let this dolt, that dolt, the other dolt. I'm not going to let any of these guys ruin what I built. Like I said, when I got the award, if I disappear, it's going to be my fault. It's going to be because I fucked up. I'm not letting these guys write my story. I'm not letting these guys cancel me, get rid of me, make me disappear. I'm not letting them do it. It will be my fault. If I disappear, if I go away, if I crumble, it will be my fault. It will be because I screwed up. I can live with that. These dudes aren't going to end me. They're not going to put my career down. They're not going to put a bullet in my head like Dana said back in 2016. They're not going to do that. As far as the career is concerned, they're not going to do that. I will never allow that. And so when I see Paddy talking like that, calling me those names and making up lies about me and saying that I told him to take an interview with me over another interview, no, it's not going to happen. I will defend myself because no one else is going to defend me. No one else is going to have my back. No one else is going to come to my defense except for me. And there was a time where I wasn't allowed to have my back. There was a time where I wasn't allowed to defend myself. Now I can. Now there's no one telling me to take the high road. Like I said, high road Helwani is dead. So don't mean to belabor the point, but every single time one of these dudes, I don't care if it's the other two schmoes who do their podcast and think they're so important. I don't care if it's, you know, Schaub and his little buddies. I don't care if it's fucking Paddy and Dana and Ali and all of them in between. Just don't talk about me. Don't lie and we'll be all good. And if you do lie, I'll keep coming. And I'll keep responding. I'll keep defending myself because you guys aren't going to be the ones because I know how it works. You lie about someone, it becomes reality, it becomes the truth. People gravitate towards that. They believe in it. I see how it happens. I see with my own two eyes. I'm not going to let you do that. And so